Good morning, students. Today we are continuing our yesterday's class. Yesterday we stopped at features of contract. Now we are discussing what are the features of contracts. The first one is offer, which is called ijab. When someone wants to make a contract, he has to make a proposal to the other person to obtain his consent to the act or abstinence. This is known as an offer. For example, if A wants to sell something to B, it is required that A has first to make an offer to that B. A wants to sell a particular thing for a certain price, whether B is willing to buy or not. Thus, making an offer to another party is an element of a contract in the Islamic law. There are three kinds of offers are there. The first one is verbal offer, that is called kabul. The second one is offer by conduct, that is called amal. And third one is offer in writing, that is kitabah. And the next feature is acceptance, which is called kabul. In the Islamic law of contract, acceptance is known as kabul. When an offer is accepted by the offeree, it is said that an acceptance has been made. When there is an effective acceptance, an agreement is made between the parties which become legally binding for them. An acceptance can be verbal, by conduct, or in writing, as stated as earlier. Under the Islamic law, in order to effect a contract, the offer must be accepted by the offeree and the acceptance must be in the same meeting or majlis, not later. The Islamic law of contract emphasizes on an immediate acceptance of an offer to make a valid contract. However, it seems that such requirements of an immediate acceptance of an offer in the same meeting between the offerer and the offeree may not be possible in the modern business world, as a businessman need to time to think about the possibility and viability of making a contract and to finally decide the positively. And the next feature is free consent. For a contract to be valid, the agreement must be made by a free consent of the parties in the contract. A free consent of parties is also known as conscience of parties without any form of coercion, either directly or indirectly. If the contract is caused by a coercion or a fraud or under influence, it would be voidable contract. Hence, the contract must be based on free consent from both parties. A free consent of parties is very important in the discharge and execution of the Islamic contract law. It is a fundamental principle in Islamic law of contract that the both parties must demonstrate a free consent while conducting a transaction. The proof of a free consent between the offerer and the offeree is very significant and highly required as the essence of the Islamic contract law aqd. And the intention to create a legal relation. Under the Islamic law of contract, an intention to create a legal relationship is significant. If there is a lack of intention to create a legal relationship, the agreement may not, in all probabilities, be enforceable by law. However, the party that claims that there is a lack of intention to create the legal relationship has to prove beyond a shadow of doubt of its tangible existence. Usually, the agreement which has a consideration is regarded as having an intention to create a legal relationship between the parties. Business contracts are usually considered as having the intention to create a legal relationship in one way or another. Some social agreements may lack the intention to create a legal relationship, and it depends on the case by case basis and circumstances of the agreement. And the objective and the consideration should be legal. It is important under the Islamic law of contract that the objective of a contract should be lawful and the legal binding, otherwise the contract will be invalid and not enforceable by law. If the objective of a contract is to perform some form of illegal act or immoral acts, then the contract will be invalid. And the certainty. Under the Islamic law of contract, the terms of an agreement must be definite, clearly defined, and unambiguous. The terms must be expressed or clearly and precisely written down so that no element of uncertainty can be presumed in that contract. If the terms or subject matter is uncertain and ambiguous, the contracts will become void. The term in the contract is considered uncertain if it is not very clear to be understood. It is the requirement in the Islamic contract law that the subject matter of a contract must exist at the time when the contract is made, and it should be possible to be delivered at the agreed time of delivery. If the subject matter does not exist when the contract is made, the element of error, which is called uncertainty, may occur and can be invalidate the contract. And the last one is capacity, ahliyah. Under the Islamic Sharia, the capacity is known as ahliyah. Capacity is the ability to make a contract under a fully sane physical condition with a healthy mental awareness. Not every person can make a legal contract, such as a minor, an insane person, and any person incapable of making a decision due to physical and mental defect, etc. Under the Islamic contractual law, the age of a majority is 15 years. This is known as buluj of a man or woman. At this age, he or she understanding things better. However, taking into account of legal consequence of a contract, it is better to fix the majority age as 18 years when making a valid contract without the need to have a written consent from the person, parents, or the guardians. And the last one is formality. Formality means the writing and the signature requirement of a contract, and the contract might be required to be witnessed by others. The Islamic law of contract emphasizes on writing down the terms of a contract, which is to avoid a dispute between parties, as one or more parties may, after a long period of time, forgot what they had actually decided or agreed upon. However, under the Islamic law of contract, an oral contract is valid if it can be proven by a reliable and capable witnesses. It is easier to prove a contract when the terms are in writing. A loan agreement also should be in writing, so that if the parties forgot the amount of loan and other agreed terms, the written note will remind them of the terms of loan agreement and loan amount and the payment date, etc. Thank you.